Good evening. It's 9 p.m. here in South Korea. Thank you for joining us on Arirang News. We begin with a summit between the leaders of South Korea and Japan that took place in Tokyo today. President Yoon Suk Yeol sat down with Prime Minister Fumio Kishida to discuss how to mend fences between the two governments and work towards a future-oriented relationship. They held a joint press conference declaring a new chapter in bilateral relations. We connect with our top office correspondent, Oh Soo-young, who is traveling with the president. So, hi Sooyoung, let's begin with some of the biggest outcomes from the meeting.
Hi Jiyoung, yes, so I'm standing outside the Prime Minister's residence, Japanese Prime Minister's residence rather, where the two leaders met just hours ago. And well, as you said, there were some very important outcomes from their summit talks today in terms of overcoming some of the biggest sticking points in bilateral relations. First off, with trade. So President Yoon said that Japan has ended its export curbs of semiconductor materials to South Korea as of today, and Seoul has also halted its dispute resolution process at the World Trade Organization over Japan's export measures. President Yoon said the two sides would continue discussions to reinstate each other as trusted trade partners in their respective so-called white lists. The aim of this summit, of course, was to normalize relations between the two countries that fell to a critical low in 2019, during which Japan slapped export restrictions on semiconductor materials to South Korea. Now, this was due to unresolved disputes and sentiments over historical issues, primarily the issue of compensating Koreans who were subjected to forced labour by Japanese firms during World War II. Now, the Yoon government announced a plan earlier this month to compensate the victims through private funding without demanding reparations from Japanese firms. Now, this was hailed as a breakthrough move by Tokyo and Washington amid efforts to ramp up trilateral cooperation and regional security, especially as they address growing threats from North Korea. Since then, the momentum for rapprochement has been building at incredible speed, culminating in this breakthrough summit today. Now, another major announcement was the South Korean president declaring that the intel sharing pact between Seoul and Tokyo is now fully functioning. The General Security of Military Information Agreement, or JSOMIA for short, enables the exchange of sensitive information such as intelligence on North Korea's missiles. Now, the agreement was almost scrapped back in 2019 at the height of Seoul-Tokyo tensions, but now it's back to fully functioning today. Moving forward, the two leaders said they will launch a bilateral economic security dialogue.
Well, there wasn't a joint statement by the two leaders, but it seems they're eager to continue talking and improving their ties.
That's right, Jiyoung. So there wasn't a joint statement that came out of the summit between President Yoon and Prime Minister Kishida, but it's quite clear that the two leaders are very much on the same page when it comes to building up their future-oriented ties between South Korea and Japan. And, well, let's listen to what President Yoon had to say.
한국과 일본은 자유, 인권, 법치에 보편적 가치를 공유하고 안보, 경제, 글로벌 어젠다에서 공동의 이익을 추구하는 가장 가까운 이웃이자 협력해야 할 파트너입니다.
Japan has also described South Korea as an important partner in recent weeks amid efforts to ramp up trilateral cooperation with the United States on regional and economic security. And there has been some controversy about Seoul's plan to compensate victims of Japan's forced labour. But the leaders have made it clear that they're focusing on building trust and looking to the future, in the spirit of the 1998 declaration made by former President Kim Dae-jung and Prime Minister Keizo Obuchi. Yoon and Kishida both expressed their willingness to engage in active diplomacy and meet whenever necessary without being constrained by formalities.
So on that note, the two leaders have been enjoying some personal time together with a two-part dinner, according to rumors.
Right, there has been some interesting speculations about what these two leaders are going to eat, first of all, and how many dinners they're going to have. And, well, it seems that they should be wrapping up their dinner engagement by now. And, well, Japanese press reported previously that there would be a two-part dinner with a Japanese hot pot and an omelette dish that President Yoon is known to be quite partial to. Seoul's top office says that the dinner engagement was arranged indeed to provide the time and space needed for the leaders to build that trust on a personal level. And well, we're going to have to see whether the Japanese Prime Minister will invite South Korea to the G7 meeting in May in Hiroshima, and that would set the scene for a trilateral summit with the United States. And there's of course the speculation that Kishida is considering visiting Seoul in a reciprocal visit in the summer after hosting the G7 meeting.
Thank you, Sooyoung, for being out there for us tonight. That was our top office correspondent, Oh Soo-young, who is traveling with the president.